What many Connecticut residents are unaware of is that Connecticut has the largest achievement gap in the United States. The state has some of the wealthiest towns and some of the poorest towns in the country. There are many organizations in the state that hope to bring awareness of the education gap in Connecticut. The Connecticut Council for Education Reform is a not-for-profit organization established in 2011 by several of the original members of the Connecticut Commission on Educational Achievement to work and carry out the 67 policy recommendations that could have the greatest potential impact to narrow the gap and improve education locally. CCER does this by building statewide capacity to implement meaningful and sustainable improvement, advocating for state-level policies that should help narrow gaps in achievement and increase public awareness of the issue. What I am hoping to spread today is public awareness for the education gap in Connecticut. The education gap has lifetime lasting effects on our community. Many students who are in low-income school systems and do poorly in school end up dropping out before graduation. With more than 8,000 students dropping out each year, Connecticut pays more than $4 billion of lost revenues and need to increase social services costs. A high school dropout earns less and requires more social services, such as welfare or other state aid. The same is said for a high school dropout in Connecticut, and is 3 times more likely to end up in prison. This contributes to a poorer state economy and quality of life in poor or bad areas of the state. We have learned that part of CCER's goal is to partner with school districts throughout the state to help come up with plans and ways to minimize this gap. Currently, CCEA is working with Bloomfield to help generate change for the residents and students of the town. Another organization is the Connecticut Coalition for Justice and Education Funding, who is working to provide adequate resources, equitable state funding to help reform all schools and towns in need. Is to ensure funding is being distributed equally based on student learning needs, fair measures of town wealth, and by shifting the funding from property taxes and onto the state. The Connecticut Center for School Change is another not-for-profit organization that partners with school districts like Berlin, Bridgeport, Manchester, Hartford, and more to help districts achieve improved student success and learning how to maintain continued success. The Connecticut General Assembly has also established the Achievement Gap Task Force to help address the gap in Connecticut by helping to develop effective approaches to closing the gap. What school did you go to? Did you go to a school that looks like this? With computer labs, libraries, and resources that were unlimited to you and your fellow peers? Not all students in Connecticut are fortunate to live in an environment that is able to provide such awesome resources to help them reach the goals that they hope to achieve. Visit ctedreform.org to help learn more and help spread the word on the education gap in Connecticut. Visit the site if you're interested in seeing what your own town's education gap looks like in comparison to other cities in the state.